when it comes to capturing the full feeling of the human experience, if it can't be codified, and this may be looking at things through a very maybe ardent scientific lens of if it can't be proven, it doesn't exist kind of thing, or but you said something there just in terms of if people say that that information isn't important, we have a real habit of doing this when we don't understand something, or we can't take or stand in the place of perspective where we could potentially see what this means. And we've got almost this very dismissive way of just saying, well, that's not important. Like even sometimes I had a Jungian analyst, and we were just even mentioning this in terms of dreams. If somebody says, well, dreams are nonsense, like that's that's a big swathe of our existence to say that something is just nonsense, or not important.
Well, let me pick up on that dream thought. I think it's a very beautiful one. I think it's a really important one. One of the things I've been sort of suggesting, talking to people right now, is to say I can fly. I fly not in airplanes. I fly through the sky, and I do it quite regularly. And in fact, I have done it since I was a child. Now, I'm not about to say, Mark, look, I'm going to flip the camera around and watch me take off from my third floor window here. But I've flown regularly in my dreams. So Robbie, this Robbiness, this sense of self in time and space, has spent time where, to all intents and purposes, phenomenologically, in that moment, what I was doing was flying. And sometimes it's been very, very beautiful and it's been very high. Sometimes it's very claggy and I can't get off the ground. But why prioritize this moment in time and space of my phenomenological relationship with the universe over that one? So as I say, to all intents and purposes, I fly, and I fly quite regularly. And I do think that means something. I think it is meaningful. It's a good thought experiment worthy of inquiry, because again, the fact that I am that person who thinks that may cause various things to happen. I hope it doesn't cause anybody to think, I will jump out the top of a third floor window. That's not what I'm saying at all. But in those moments, so which back to pay attention. One of the things I've tried to do recently is to pay attention both to the state, I think it's called, I might get them wrong, but the hypnopompic state, as one's going from waking into sleep. And of course, then we have dream sleep, but then the hypnagogic state where you're coming out of that beautiful space of out of dreaming, out of sleeping into waking. And those liminal spaces are incredibly rich. And I don't know, I've been looking at, I haven't found it elsewhere yet, this idea of conceptual synesthesia, where your brain is clearly doing so many more exciting things than one is normally conscious of. So I try and come up with an example. And I know this is a bit of a solecism to share dreams, but on this podcast, I would imagine that's all right. So
it's more than acceptable.
I swim long distance. I've done, not for a little while, but I've swum the English Channel in a relay. I've swum Lake Windermere. I've swum 10 hours at a time. I like swimming long distances. I like it. So I was on the back of a boat, the kind of boat that had kind of accompanied me across the channel. It got swamped with waves, and I saw this big wave coming. And I thought to myself, that's a Rubens wave, as in the painter Rubens. Now, Rubens is not famous for painting waves. And my embodied reaction to it was, I was pleased that I was expert enough to spot that was a Rubens wave. That was what was coming. So this strange mashup in my brain, my mind, of a wave and Rubens, in a way probably in my waking day I wouldn't have. There's this beautiful examples. And the more you pay attention, the more you breathe into that stuff, record some of it, the more the more you do it, the more you start to see how incredibly beautiful and exciting. Now, you could also see how frightening it could be, because this could be, an example sometimes of one's mind starting to run hot. And for people for whom this gets out of control and it feels frightening, and there are voices and those are real things. That is their phenomenological experience of being there in space and time with their up quarks and down quarks and muons and mesons and how low into the reductionist space you want to go. I'll all of that is also fabulous and amazing that we start to know all of that. But dreams are fundamentally important.
Thanks for watching the latest clip from the What is a Good Life podcast. My name's Mark McCartney. I'm the host of this podcast, and I'm also a coach based in Berlin. Over the last 2 years, I've interviewed over 150 people around this question, and I've distilled these findings, anecdotes, and experiences into both corporate workshops and one-on-one coaching programs. If you're a corporate looking to book a workshop for your next event, or you're a working professional in need of finding answers to some of the bigger questions in life, please direct message me below for a free 30-minute consultation.